Hello and welcome to Scaling AI from Pilot to Production, Maximize AI Impact with HPE and Intel. Today's webinar is sponsored by HPE and Intel and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Scott Becker. I'm from Actual Tech and I'm excited to be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great session, we have a few housekeeping items that are going to help you get the most out of it. First off, we want this to be an informative event for you, so we encourage any questions in the questions box in your webinar control panel. So not only will we have team members responding to questions during the live event, but we'll also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the presentation where we'll discuss in greater detail some of the top questions that you ask. That Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues that you might be experiencing. A browser refresh will fix most audio, video, or slide advancement issues, but if that doesn't work, just let us know there in the Q&A and we'll provide further technical assistance. Now, second, in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering several resources, and I'd especially like to call your attention to a link about HPE ProLiant Compute AI solutions and a PDF of today's slide deck. So you can grab those in there. Encourage you to access those now and feel free to share them with your friends and colleagues. Now, third, at the end of this webinar event, we will be awarding a $250 Amazon gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for the prize. The official terms and conditions of today's prize drawing can be found in the handout section. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find the link with the details there. Now, finally, one of the best benefits of this event is the opportunity to ask a question of our expert presenters who I'm about to introduce. So to help encourage your questions, we have a special additional prize for you. That's another Amazon gift card, this one for $50 for the best question. So after the event is over, we'll look through all the questions that came in and pick out the very best one, contact that prize winner. Okay, with all that housekeeping out of the way, let's get to today's fantastic session. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to our presenters today. We have Dan Sandman, who's AI Solutions Category Manager for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. And we have Monica Livingston, who's head of the AI Center of Excellence for Intel. So let me bring Dan and Monica on. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having us, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everyone.
Well, we're really looking forward to this session. Such an important topic, so timely. Monica, I'm going to turn things over to you to get us started.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, so like Scott said, I'm Monica Livingston. I lead the AI Center of Excellence at Intel. What we're focusing on is helping our customers deploy and run AI on Intel hardware. So today's session is going to be focused on enterprise AI specifically. So really not looking at the really heavily funded VC startups that are very AI specific today, because their needs are slightly different. But when we look at enterprise, a number of trends emerge, and so that's what we're covering today. And again, questions are more than welcome. Dan and I are both here with you live. This is not recorded, so we can easily adjust based on your questions as well. So what we see in enterprise, especially with the emergence of ChatGPT, is just an incredible inflection point in interest for AI, but also in adoption for AI, especially in the POC space, in the proof of concept space. What prior to ChatGPT AI would be maybe 5 minutes in a 1 hour agenda, now it's 60 minutes in a 1 hour agenda. And so I'm sure you all are here because you are also talking about AI and you are also looking at how to implement AI. So when we look at generative AI, and I'll start by saying that generative AI is not the only form of AI. And in fact, it's a very small portion of the AI implementation today, although it is a majority of the news and the media and what we're hearing in the market. A majority of the implementations for AI are classical machine learning and deep learning that have been around for several years. But when we look at the spend, we see a significant boost in spend, specifically for generative AI, again, because of the awareness that ChatGPT and similar products have brought to the market. And when you look at this amount of money, it's staggering how expensive AI is, and costs come in many different forms. A lot of the costs that you see today is in consulting. So I know we have a number of consultants that are joining us on the call today. There is a lot of spend with consulting services on AI because AI is difficult to implement. So there's a lot of learning that is happening there. The other cost of AI is compute, and that's why Dan and I are here. We work for companies that are providing compute, and so we can talk to you about how you potentially reduce that cost in implementation. Now, if you've attended AI seminars before, you have undoubtedly heard a number of different statistics around how many POCs actually make it to production. And so right now we're seeing only about 10% of companies that have launched generative AI in production. Several companies are in proof of concept. One of the main reasons why we're not seeing a faster adoption to production is, again, availability of infrastructure, as well as the cost of that infrastructure. And then, of course, the choice, the openness, and security and regulation. So there are a number of reasons why we're starting to see, well, why we're seeing limited adoption, but definitely not limited interest. So the growth is there. The numbers on my previous slide talk to that. So then when we look at, okay, well, what does enterprise need in order to be able to adopt AI? So first of all, you need an easy and open ecosystem. And really a recurring theme in my talk today is going to be cost and open. An open ecosystem is incredibly important because you will have solutions from different software vendors. The market is definitely not converging to the point to where all of your generative AI needs, whether it's a customer care chatbot or a marketing content creation tool or whatever else you are looking to generate, they're not all going to come from the same vendor. So really important in this space that we have an open ecosystem that allows these solutions to be used together, and that allows these solutions to be portable across your environment. Secure and responsible is incredibly important. When you're dealing with your data, your enterprise data, it's important that you have solutions that are securing your data, that are, if you're training some of these models with your data, you need to ensure that, well, first of all, you're using the correct data. So there's a lot of data pipeline work that needs to happen there, but also that you are protecting that data from any potential leaks or attacks. Scalability is incredibly important. If you are deploying this across several hospitals or across several factories or across several retail stores, it's important that your solution scales. And this, again, is where cost comes into play, because if you have an expensive solution, in a proof of concept, it might not look expensive. But if you're scaling it across 2,000 or so locations, those costs add up. And I just read today in terms of the difference between a chatbot, so ChatGPT versus Google search. So a ChatGPT query is 2.9 watt hours of electricity. Google search is 0.3 watt hours of electricity. So a ChatGPT-like function is 10x more electricity, and obviously that's cost as your electricity capacity in your data center, but 10x more power hungry. And so you really have to look at how the solution scales, and should you be using generative AI for everything versus use generative AI really where it could be helpful and increase productivity, but then still stay with traditional search for a majority of your applications. And that is a trade-off that that's not often talked about right now because we are advancing these technologies so quickly, and we're being told that you need ChatGPT, you need GPT for everything. In reality, is from an enterprise perspective, we can't afford that type of technology for everybody. So we need to make, or for everything, for every task. So we really need to look at where do you actually need to use AI. And so then when we're looking at, how does Intel look to solve these challenges? So we are looking to reduce cost and complexity. Our x86 infrastructure is present in most data centers. So our goal is to be able to compute as much of the AI workloads on x86, on Xeon, on CPUs as possible. That is in the best interest of enterprises for them to, and for you to be able to use your existing infrastructure. Now, of course, there will be a need for accelerators or for GPUs, for especially some of the most compute demanding applications. But as you're looking to deploy at scale, you are best served if you are using something that is, or a model that is small enough or optimized for CPUs so that you can use that broadly. We are building AI performance into our PCs. So your laptop is, if it's an Intel AI PC, is capable of running AI workloads. Even if you think about large language models, anything that's 1 billion or 2 billion parameters, those can run locally on a PC, and that saves you money because then you're not paying for that compute in the cloud, and that it saves you money because you're not paying for that compute in your data center as well. And so it's really important to be able to have these applications that can run locally if the compute capability is available. We are also working with many of our partners, including HPE, to have validated solutions. So Intel does not sell full solutions. Like if you're looking for a chatbot or if you're looking for a document reader, that's not something that Intel sells. But we do work with all of our partners to ensure that those solutions are available for you. So we curate those as well. For us, it's important to provide hardware options. So yes, we have an accelerator. The Gaudi accelerator is a very performant part for, again, these very compute intensive applications. But we believe that for enterprise, the best scalability and the best cost and the best performance per watt is going to come from software optimizations that allows these models to run on your CPUs, and then staying secure and responsible. We have hardware security accelerators inside the CPU to ensure that when the data is in use, it is being run in a secure enclave and it is being protected. It's much more important now that applications are not always behind a firewall, that we ensure that data in use is being protected as well. As data moves, we generally use encryption, and that's been a tool that's been successful. But with data at use, it's when it's most vulnerable to attacks. Okay, let's move to the next one here. So just really quickly on operational costs, you could see here that Intel Gaudi, so this is our accelerator, this is our competitor to the GPUs that are in the market. It's an AI accelerator. It only does AI. And is very much built for neural networks. So it's built for these large language models that you are seeing in the market. It is at a cheaper cost, so it has significant improvement in performance per dollar. You can see here that the Intel Xeon, this is our data center processor. Again, lower TCO, lower total cost of ownership. And it comes from the fact that we are including AI performance accelerators inside the hardware. So your software is taking advantage of those accelerators, and therefore you could do more with fewer CPUs. And then again, our core processor for PCs is available as well. And that allows you to move a number of AI workloads to your really endpoint, to your end user. If you are an ISV, that's really interesting because then your end user isn't paying for that inference compute in the cloud. They are running it on their local device, which they've already paid for. That is already their sunk cost, and that lowers their overall solution ownership because in addition to a license for a chatbot, you also have to pay for that compute in the cloud. A couple of examples here from some of our partners, and I'm not going to go and read each and every one of them, but what we see a majority of our partners doing, really you can look at scaling AI from two different directions. We see a number of our partners wanting to start with the CPU, saying, hey, we have massive data centers. We have lots of CPUs. We have lots of CPU capacity. Our first bet is to start and run as much AI as possible on what we already have. And that's a great way to benchmark whether your existing infrastructure is giving you the type of performance that you need from your AI application. If the answer is no, that's when you move to accelerated compute and you have either an AI ASIC or you use a GPU machine. Other customers are starting, especially if they're looking at some of these very large language models, right? If you're starting out with a 70 billion parameter large language model, or if you're in that space, and we're really not seeing enterprises be in that space, but if you're in the trillion parameter space, you start out with accelerators. And you immediately need that by 8 box of essentially GPUs or AI ASICs. But then when you look at scale and you look at, okay, but I need this in all my hospitals, or I need this in all of my retail shops, or I need this in all of my factories, that's when you get to the point to where you really need to start computing the cost of what this will cost you to run. And that's when we see a lot of our partners look at their 70 billion parameter model and say, okay, how do we get that lower? How do we lower the size of this model and still get the same performance and the same capabilities? But how do we get that size smaller? And if you get it small enough, you can run that on general purpose compute. Even if you get it a little bit smaller and you're optimizing it, that still reduces your cost because then you need fewer accelerated machines, and that is good as well. And so software optimizations are really, really important as well. So Intel offers a number of software tools. We do not sell software, so we have a number of Intel AI software that is available for free. Also our OpenVINO tool that helps you optimize a trained model for inference. And again, this reduces cost significantly if you are, because AI is so new right now, a lot of the models that are out there are kludgy, and they're not optimized because we're trying to get the model to market as quickly as possible. And that's great. That's good innovation. But again, when you're looking to bring it to scale, then you need to use tools like Intel OpenVINO, which again is a free tool that's available to all of our customers using our products. But you use that tool to optimize the model for inference so that you use as little compute as possible when you run that model. And again, that's how you reduce your cost. I talked a little bit about our ready-to-use applications. So we don't sell full solutions in any of these spaces, but we work with our partners to ensure that their solutions are optimized for our hardware. I mentioned that in our Xeon processors, as well as in our core processors, Intel adds AI features that improve performance. And so in order for you to see the value of those features, these ISVs that are offering these solutions need to be able to take advantage of those features. They need to essentially make sure that they're utilizing those features when they're writing their software. So this is a lot of our ecosystem build. Intel spends a lot of time with our partners to make sure that when you purchase a solution from an ISV, that has been optimized to run on your hardware, and you're able to see those performance improvements. Also, if you're interested to see which of these solutions are available, they are available on Intel.com, and we plug you right in with the different solution providers that are offering those solutions. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is as you're looking at, okay, all of the different solutions that you saw on the previous page, and you could see that the different solutions aren't necessarily converging into a single provider to say that, hey, I'm just going to this partner and I'm buying all of my AI needs, and every single piece of software that I'm using comes from this provider, and therefore I know that it works seamlessly in my production environment because I know how this ISV provides software. That world doesn't exist today. It might converge at some point, but we're really not seeing that. We're seeing a world of several different ISVs providing these specialized solutions. And so it becomes then complex to figure out how to bring all of these solutions into your enterprise environment. And we're working with a lot of customers that have a very specific enterprise platform that they need all of these solutions to plug into. And so together with the Linux Foundation, and really through the Linux Foundation, we helped launch OPIA, which is open platform for enterprise AI. And the goal of this standard, for us, it's a standard. We have customers that are contributing to this open source as well as building solutions on top of it. The importance of open standards for enterprise AI is that you want to be able to collect a number of different solutions, whether it's a chatbot, whether it's an HR application, whether it's a resume reader, whether it's defect detection. You want all of these applications to be able to fit into your enterprise platform. And so if they are developed based on an open set of standards, on a consistent set of standards, and then we're allowing the ecosystem to build on top of those standards, then those applications will much more easily plug into your enterprise. So, and actually, I'm checking my notes here again because I read this morning. So, Jack Gold, who is a prominent AI analyst, said that OPIA is a major step toward creating an open community and defining portable technologies. This is really not something that is available in the market today broadly. This is something that we've started with a number of partners. Having the portability is incredibly important as well. So you've got your open standards, you've got a set of solutions that do different things, but essentially plug into the same platform. And then you have an ecosystem of partners that can go in and provide solutions. So you're not stuck to anything that's proprietary, but it still works with your enterprise platform. So some of the requirements that we have for OPIA solutions, so efficiency, being seamless, being open, being ubiquitous. The goal is to make sure that for all of our partners, this is something that is portable, that you can run it in your data center. You can run it on your client PC. You can run it at the edge, where you have a number of different types of appliances. We're not all walking around with a giant server strapped on our backs to be able to run these applications. So it's really important that we have that portability, not to minimize the value of those giant servers. We absolutely still need them, but we do also need to make sure that the applications themselves are portable, so that we have flexibility in where they run. And so some of the things that are offered as part of OPIA, so architecture blueprints on how to build these types of platforms, reference implementations, benchmarks, and so on. And then, of course, our partners, as well as Intel, are contributing to the open source. We also expect that partners will start building monetizable solutions on top of OPIA. So if you are an ISV that is building solutions, please take a look at OPIA. Ping me if you have any questions, because it would be really helpful to understand how we can make sure that the software that you're creating fits with the OPIA standards. Now, an example of an AI platform, so HPE Private Cloud AI, and this is a slide that I stole from Dan, so Dan will be talking much more deeply about this offering. But imagine that you're on a platform like HPE Private AI. Ideally, this platform has, or the software that you're buying has the ability to plug into this platform seamlessly, and you're able to switch in and out as your needs evolve, as AI applications evolve. We have seen a very rapid shift in the evolution of AI applications. So having a platform that is plug and play, for the lack of a better word, is incredibly important in your ability to really save your cost and be able to deploy these applications quickly and at scale. So I'll end on this slide here. The goal that Intel is driving in the AI community is based on choice. So flexibility from a hardware perspective. We are adding AI features into all of our products, so that every device that we're building, that our partners are building, has the ability to run AI. Now, of course, if we're talking very large language models, you will need a giant server for that, and we'll hear some of those options from Dan. If you're computing at the edge, you will need maybe a smaller server for that. You can also compute on your actual PC device. And so having that flexibility and portability is a key tenet of Intel's AI strategy. Building a software ecosystem, again, to enable as many software partners as possible to bring their solutions to market, and then supporting our partners with the vertical solutions that they are providing, and that's ultimately what an end customer would be selling. So I'll stop here. It's not a pause; it's a stop, and hand it over to Dan, who will walk us through HPE solutions.
Hey, thanks, Monica. Great stuff. Going to touch on and piggyback on a little bit of what Monica was talking about. And Monica, as we were preparing for this, we had some really good discussions about open systems, and really see this as being the way forward for most of our customers. So what I'm going to do is really take a lot of what Monica was just sharing with us, but also really just giving some specific examples of some specific problems, AI problems that we're solving for our customers, and kind of the actual end practical solutions that we're bringing to market to accomplish this. So real quick, I want to give Intel some props here. I feel like Monica is a little modest on the impact that Intel has been having on the AI industry, because I feel like there's been a lot of well-deserved interest in the GPUs and how they're being used in these huge clusters, right, to train huge data sets. but the key word there is train, right? To train these large language models. But what's not really being talked about as much that we're seeing is the importance of the CPU when you actually go to take those models and deploy them in inference or into an actual application. So you've got the model trained, it's used typically a large cluster of GPUs. Now you're ready to deploy, and when you go to deploy, the CPU, it becomes a much more important part of that equation, because there's always this dance between the CPU and the GPU, where they're going to always need to be sharing data and basically swapping memory, right, to actually allow the AI models to perform and do what you expect them to do. So the slide I'm sharing here is actually an Intel slide I nabbed for Monica, and as you can see, over the last, last 5 to 7 years, there's been a lot of advancements with that Intel's been driving for traditional workloads, database, analytics, web services, all the traditional workloads. But really, the main acceleration we've seen is within AI. Intel's helping drive performance. But the other part that Monica touched on there as well, that we're also seeing within HPE, is the um, the other side of this equation, which is power, right? Everybody has a cap or limits to the amount of power, whether they're running it locally in their own data center, in a co-location, or even in a service provider. I work with a lot of kind of mid-sized service providers, and everybody's always talking about power, and the constraints that often causes. So as Monica pointed out, there's Intel's constantly been working towards improving efficiency, and what this is allowing is better performance to power, which means in essence, we're able to actually perform a lot of these AI workloads, as well as do more as Intel and the technology continues to advance. The other way I'll point this, I think I forgot to introduce myself, so I'm sorry. I'm with Hewlett Packard Enterprise. I'm part of our AI solutions team. So I'm going to give you a different point of view as far as like power and consolidation. And what we're seeing here is we're actually seeing, if you have kind of our older generation, like Gen 8 servers from, call it 7-8 years ago, you can actually consolidate up to 11 of those into a single current Gen 11 server. And so why is this important? Well, first of all, you're saving lots of rack space, right? Which, if you're in a metropolitan area, I don't need to explain the benefits to you of just saving space. But again, where we're really seeing this is really important is just running more efficient systems. Anytime you're reducing systems, there's less of them that are energy vampires, right? So you're improving that efficiency. So you're improving your power capabilities. You're improving your heating and cooling, reducing your cooling requirements, and again, enabling you to run these revolutionary AI models and workloads. Even if you're on like a Gen 10 server, if you've just purchased a Gen 10, call it 3 or so years ago, you can still see 2-to-1 server consolidation. And so the other thing we're seeing a lot of is I see two camps of customers that we work with. One is they're updating to the latest and greatest servers to run those traditional workloads, those those web services or point of sale or whatever, and saying, hey, now that we've got the latest and greatest Intel CPUs and the latest and greatest GPUs, we want to also augment that with AI uses. So that's one camp. The other is we have a lot of customers that are saying, "Hey, we understand the value that, and we want to be forward-looking and really create AI centers of excellence or AI specific platforms." And so we can do either, right? We can assist with either of those cases. So if you're just you're just looking to upgrade to the newest servers to run your current applications better and start augmenting with AI, we can help with that. If you really want to go build from the ground up an actual AI center or a pool of resources, we can help with that as well. So, with that being said, let's go dive into some of the specific solutions that we brought to bring in and brought to market. I'm going to give you some specific examples of what we've actually been doing with customers. Hopefully, give you an idea if this is relatively new to you, give you an idea of what's possible here. Monica gave you a quick highlight of our HP private cloud AI solution. As she mentioned, this is an open system. Which is really exciting. We can talk a little bit more about that. But the way I really like to, the quick elevator pitch on this, it is a turnkey, plug and play private cloud AI environment, meaning we pre-architect it, re-rack, stack power it, we sit with you, and within a few clicks, we can deploy your entire AI environment so that you can begin testing, running AI, actually putting it in production, and continuing that whole cycle to continue to improve your AI models, add more users, continue to improve and scale. So that's one way to put it. Another way I like to put it, even more simply, is, hey, do you like things like ChatGPT? Are you and your organization using ChatGPT? How would you feel about your own private ChatGPT that you control? You control all the data that it uses. You control, again, this is an open system. You control that we have pre-integrated tools into this, but you can bring in your own. You have complete control. So if that interests you, that is what this is a private ChatGPT solution. Let's talk about a few use cases. So first, I kind of mentioned it there. One real big one is just like agents or chatbots, AI-assisted chatbots. Another area we're seeing a lot of interest is for things like code generation. So if you're familiar with like GitHub Copilot, those types of solutions, to help your coders code faster and better. Another key area we're seeing is within automation. So automating those tasks that oftentimes can be time consuming and tedious. One customer we're working with specifically is a large police department in the desert, surrounded by a lot of casinos, and are really interested in using generative AI for case file creation. So they've got their police officers out in the field. They're making notes, and traditionally they'd have to go back to the desk or into their car and create these cases, and it was a time-consuming, annoying task, right? That nobody really liked to do. So what they've done is they've worked with us to actually automate a lot of that. So it's just like, hey, give the quick bullet points of here's the here are the people that are involved. Here's what, quick sentence of what's going on, and then the case is automatically generated for the police officer. They're back out, out in the field, doing the police work that we as well as they all, want them to be doing more of. So it's been fantastic, and I think an awesome example of how automation can really help improve efficiency. The last thing I'll point out here is we're seeing a lot of interest within marketing. One example I want to give specifically is HPE. We've deployed an HPE chatbot internally, and Monica and I actually used this to generate the invitation and the registration page, some of the verbiage on the page that you all signed up for this. Again, we just created a few bullets of what we wanted to cover. Our internal chatbot created the marketing message and hopefully it looks like it worked because we've got quite a few of you that have joined us here. So we're also doing some really cutting edge things with like auto manufacturers. We've got one specifically that's generating video to help create car commercials. So this is just a wide open area of that customers are finding new ways to utilize this technology every day. And we're making it turnkey, right? Ready to deploy and begin using. I just wanted to share this. This is not an Intel or an HPE um, slide here. This is actually something I grabbed from A16Z, and the reason why I did this is just from like a week or two ago. I thought it just so they interviewed a bunch of their or about 70 AI enterprises, and just wanted to see where they're actually having success deploying large language models, and it aligns exactly to what we're seeing here at HPE, where it's a lot of what I've just kind of covered, customer service, marketing, software development, those sorts of things that you can see here. what you'll notice, though, a lot of it is internal facing. Are kind of the primary uses we're working with our customers on now. With the next wave that's coming next is kind of those external facing tools. And if you think about it, it really makes sense because this is such a new developing technology that everybody, we're really building this and deploying it internally where there's a lot less risk, right? Where you can control it, and if something kind of, if something breaks or needs a little tweaking, it's you can handle it. It's not, it's not going to land you in the papers. But we do have some some customers working on some external uses, a lot in retail, a lot in the wireless, telco industry, where they've been deploying chatbots and things for years. I will say, once you have the comfort and the confidence in your models that you begin deploying externally to external customers, the ROI gets oftentimes is much easier to measure and makes these projects um, very easy to justify. And the reason why is because if you think about, you've deployed a chatbot for something like customer service, you can now easily link how much improvement you're making for customer service ratings, or ticket reduction in ticket time, right? Or in the case of a lot of retailers, you deploy a recommendation engine, and you can immediately link that to increase of revenue and sales. So anytime you can find a use case that you're comfortable with for external use, it's oftentimes a lot easier to tie to a specific ROI. That being said, today the majority of the use cases we're seeing are for those internal improving efficiency types of use cases. As Monica pointed out, everybody's, I think, interested in this, right? It can kind of, uh, uh, even if you're not an expert in this area, it can kind of, tangibly feel like where this is going and the benefits it could provide. But why isn't everybody doing this? Well, as Monica pointed out, and I'm sharing here as well, only historically about 1 out of every 10 of these projects has not succeeded. And the reason why is it's hard, right? There's a lot of complexity to this. So everything from the infrastructure complexity, so all the compute, the networking, the storage, to the software layers, multiple software layers that need to be taken into consideration, to the data complexity, right? Oftentimes you're wanting to use specific data sets, whether they be yours or internal, external, or a blend of that. How do you actually ingest that, and how do you capture data as it's being generated by the models to improve your models, right? There's all this complex architecture that's involved. On top of that, and that's really apparent for our customers that have been trying to build to varying degrees of success with like trying to build this all themselves with open source models and open source tools. On the flip side of that, when I think I saw a question already come in here regarding going to public cloud, or even AI services like a chat GPT type of service. Those are great because they're easy to deploy, right? Like it's usually a couple clicks and you've got your environment up and running. Or if you're using a chat GPT service, you're just deploying some of the applications that they already have ready to go. But you start to run into issues with and concerns with data safeguards, right? So you might have specific policies that you can't share data. I know HPE, we have specific policies that we can't share data externally. You might even have laws, if you work for in healthcare or finance or other areas, you might legally not be able to allow that data to leave your firewall. So that's a challenge when you're developing and actually want to start deploying in the public cloud. The other area we're seeing some concerns with the public cloud is controlling the costs. We're working with a large retailer is on the cutting edge and has been deploying AI chatbots, recommendation engines, all kinds of things. They have a whole AI um, best practice or environment that they developed. They developed and deployed in the cloud. Excuse me, and they came back to us recently and said, "Hey, we just started realizing how much this is costing us." They basically got the bill and said, spinning up all these GPUs and all this infrastructure it's it's getting out of control. So can you, number one, can you help us control it? Number two, we'd love it if you could show us how that you could maybe save us money by bringing this back on-prem. And we've been able to do both, by the way. But on the flip side of that, like if you then try to go open source, how do you manage all this, right? Like how do you manage the architecture, the models, the data, and provide that seamless experience? And so these are the problems that we've specifically went out to solve, and we've done is right taking that. If I can put it this simply, it's taking the look and feel and the ease of use of the public cloud type of experience, giving you all the benefits of the data safeguards, the control of costs, and the openness of a private system. If I really could summarize that, the other way I would really summarize all of that is this is instant AI productivity, right? Again, this is a turnkey. We deploy it, a couple clicks, you're up and running. You've got your AI environment up and running. And I'm really proud to stand here and say that there's nobody else in the industry that can do this. I think I already saw a question come in regarding some of the competition. I can address that a little bit here, but none of our competitors are able to do this. One of our biggest ones, I'll just say Dell, right? They're out there. They've got a similar message, but Dell is pulling together pieces, right, from different areas and providing, they call them blueprints, right? But it's not a cohesive solution that you can just, a couple clicks deploy and you've got your entire environment at your fingertips. And from what I've seen, they haven't also publicly stated from what I've seen that they fully support it, whereas we fully support all of this. Like our entire solution is fully supported. So I think I already covered kind of the other points on this slide. This is all about protecting, safeguarding your data and providing that cloud-like experience, but again, privately and completely open to your use. What it looks like at a high level is what I'm sharing here. Again, this is, believe it or not, the high level marketing slide for this. It's actually very, very complex. And again, why Monica pointed out earlier, and I pointed out earlier as well, is that why this has been so difficult to accomplish, or why it's been so difficult to actually deploy large language models and generative AI uses. But the way I really like to describe this now is, and we're taking out all the complexity out of this for you, right? So just like how our smartphones have a lot of hardware, a lot of software, a lot of things going on. I don't know about you. I don't know every piece of my phone. All I know is when I pick it up, it works. It does what I expect it to. And that is exactly what HPE Private Cloud AI is, right? We've taken all that complication and it's below the surface and just provided you a seamless, easy to use window dashboard to begin using your AI tools and deploying AI. What that means is we've included all the pieces, right? We've got all the infrastructure. We've got a combination of NVIDIA AI software as well as our own HPE AI software. There's a lot to this, but the way I really try to frame this is, you think of HPE, our AI software is like the platform or the operating system, and then we plug in NVIDIA AI Enterprise, or we can plug in Intel tools as well. Again, this is open, so if you have your own open source or tools, homegrown tools that you've developed, as long as you can containerize them, you can put them in the system and then manage all of that within a single pane of glass. And then the last piece, if we have any data officers out there, any data people as well, is we also include HPE Esmeralda software, if you've heard of that. All you need to know is, as hopefully everybody's aware, anytime you want to run AI, and so you can pick an AI model and off of open source for free, right? And it's going to be very broad though, because it's been trained typically on a broad public data. Anytime you want to make that AI application specific to your data and specific to your use case, you need to go link it to your data wherever it is. So we also provide this through HPE Esmeralda software, where if your data is in the public cloud, if it's on-prem, if it's direct attach, if regardless if it is structured or unstructured, we can pull that all in and make it basically provide a single unified namespace where the AI models can utilize that data. So we bring all this together and provide a nice, easy control plane to make it work. The The other piece of this, so we brought something similar to market about a year ago, and quickly realized that it is these types of things are not one size fits all. So what we've done is we've actually t-shirt sized this based on what you are looking to do. So if you have models that you're ready to run, right? Maybe you've done some testing in the public cloud, you're ready to deploy. Maybe you've started deploying the public cloud, and as I mentioned earlier with that one retailer, you're ready to bring it back on prem. We can provide that with a very small inferencing solution. If you want to do that as well as link your models to your own documents and have them easily reference your own documents and data through retrieval augmented generation or RAG, we just go up to another slide. And then if you want to do all of that, plus you want to roll your sleeves up, customize, fine tune those models, we have a size for that, and we can continue to scale. And as Monica pointed out a few times, scale is very important, right? We can scale and grow as you need as your needs grow as well. Last thing I'll point out on this is we include services. As I said, we're bumper to bumper services. This is a complete solution. So we'll do the rack stack powering. We'll sit with you from at least 1 to 2 weeks to make sure that you get your AI applications, AI models deployed and tied to your applications. And then continue to sit with you if you'd like to continue to develop solutions into the future, or AI applications into the future. So lots of flexibility here, but what I want you to take away from this is that this is not just put a system out there and you're on your own. This is about we're only going to feel successful if you feel successful and you start to see a return on your investment and start to actually make advancements with AI applications. So I had a couple more things I just wanted to mention. I want to leave some time for Q&A, so I just wanted to point out a few other areas, some Intel-enabled systems that we're bringing to market specific to AI. We have a wide range of servers that you're hopefully aware of. Really just wanted to narrow it down to the 3 big ones where we're seeing the majority of our customers using for AI. So we have our DL320 Gen 11 server. It's a real skinny, it's a 1U, 1P system that's great for AI at the edge. We're doing a lot of vision AI with this system. So this is just real good, skinny, affordable system that can support a lot of GPUs and is great for AI at the edge. As we move up to our ProLiant DL380 and DL380A, these typically are going to data centers. These are good for kind of that mixed use. So traditional AI workloads, throw some GPUs in there if you want to do some AI. As well as we support 2 Intel CPUs in these systems. So there's a lot of flexibility with in regards to how we configure these. And last but not least, I don't know if I'll have time to go into this in much detail, but we're bringing to market what we call our DL380A Gen 12. And this is a supersized DL380, right? This is basically, we're going from a 2U to a 4U. It's going to be supporting Intel's latest and greatest Gen 6 CPUs, as well as supporting up to 8 double wide or 16 single wide GPUs. So it's extremely flexible, just great if you have a lot of different types of AI that you're wanting to experiment with and or deploy. One other thing I want to point out, though, is we're very solution centric because again, we're always happy to sell you a server, right? But really, we see our success in your success. So what we're doing is really building out a lot of turnkey solutions, like I showed you with our private cloud AI solution. The other one is we've partnered with a vision AI company called Iron Young, and to deploy AI onto your cameras. So in a nutshell, what this is, if you have any sort of cameras, security cameras or otherwise, if just imagine if you or I were looking at a camera stream and could say, that's a person, that's a pet, that's track where they're walking, if they're walking through a store, if they have a weapon, if they have a backpack, whatever, cars, anything, right? Just as we could analyze that, AI can now do that better than us and do it across hundreds or thousands of camera streams. So traditionally, how we've done this is we had a lot of customers coming to us looking to deploy these types of things, and we would just provide them a server, and then they're like, how do we do the software, and how do we integrate this into our cameras? What we said is, we're going to make some partnerships with Iron Young, and in this case, one of our partners, TD SYNNEX, and make this a turnkey solution so that you literally we'll just put a server out where your cameras are at, and it plugs right in between your cameras and your sensors and your video management system, and it can analyze whatever video you want it to analyze and provide any sorts of alerts that you're interested in. So out of the box, we have 30 pre-trained video analytics. We can do custom analytics and models if interested. Can support up to thousands of cameras, and this just plugs into your existing camera network. So that was the other thing. We wanted to partner with a vision AI company that wasn't rip and replace, that didn't require ripping out old camera and old hardware. So this can be deployed onto your existing camera environment. So here's a list of the analytics that come out of the box. What we normally recommend is just starting with one or two of these. You want a proof of concept, right? So we're working with a lot of schools right now for things like again, weapon detection and alerting authorities if something's alerted, or if there's a fight in the hallway or out on the ground, alerting staff to come intervene. So start small, start with a couple examples. We can do demos of this, right? And then once you've are comfortable with it, expanding to more use cases or more locations as it makes sense. All right, the last thing I'm going to spend 2 minutes on is just a little bit deeper on the 380A Gen 12. So we're bringing this to market next month. Again, this is a real flagship product for us in Intel. Out of the gate, it's a 4U system, but Intel has done such a great job with their new CPUs that we're able to support up to, again, 8 double wide or 16 single wide GPUs plus Intel's latest and greatest CPUs, and continue just to support this through air cooling. So you're not having to worry about plumbing, water, direct liquid cooling, or any of that. But in a nutshell, what this really is it's supporting the latest Intel CPUs. It's going to support all the latest and greatest NVIDIA GPUs, so their new H200s, if you've heard of those, the new Blackwell chips that are coming out next year. Very future-proof, with an extremely customizable, right? So if you're looking to deploy or maybe test on half the system, test your AI models on half the system and deploy on the other half, you can do that, right? Or any mixture of those things. So if you're interested in you're begun testing or you're looking to deploy on-prem, this is a great place to start. By the way, the 380A systems are what our private cloud AI solution I was showing you earlier are based on. So so these are extremely flexible and open systems, and always happy to walk you through or provide you a demo if you're interested. With that, I'll just say I'll leave it. We've got some advisory services, regardless of where you are in your AI journey. Even if you're just getting started and you want to, hey, let's talk use cases. Happy to meet with you on that. If you're further down the road, like I said, you're already maybe testing or deploying, and you're like, we're looking to maybe come on-prem or see how we could do some things better, maybe a hybrid cloud approach. Reach out. We're always happy to talk. So I only left us a few minutes here, Monica. I apologize, but let's go ahead and get to the Q&A and answer a few questions.
Yeah,
are there any that
great.
stood out?
Oh yeah, so
ahead,
there was one probably for Monica. Maybe this one about. I wonder, how do you compare compute costs between training and inference? Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, so your training costs are generally going to be just generally higher upfront. So if we just look at things like ChatGPT, right? GPT-3, everybody knows what that is. It took about $4 million to train. You retrain these models on a regular basis, and so you generally have not that entire cost, but you generally have a similar costs periodically. But then to run, to essentially when everybody goes in and types their questions, the published number for that is about $70K or $700K per day. So what you really can see is that training cost is significantly higher than inference cost for just a one shot to get the model trained. But then inference per day or per week or per month ends up being significantly higher than the training cost, which is why you really want to choose the best model, the smallest model that still meets your performance SLAs, because you're going to incur those daily costs.
Okay, excellent. Monica, I see you've gone through and you've answered a couple of questions. Thanks for doing that. And Dan, you grabbed a couple during your presentation. Do you guys see any in there that you'd really love to tackle before we close out? Any of those that have come in?
Yeah, I think there was one on healthcare, specific healthcare solutions, and so some that I've worked on, and there's many others. Image recognition, helping radiologists in particular detect tumors, helping ophthalmologists detect certain types of diseases with a specific appliance. Those have been really cool. And then, of course, drug discovery, the ability of AI systems to really drill down into which molecules are most promising for specific diseases or illnesses has been revolutionary, because in the past you would have human scientists that would have to go through and propose different types of molecule iterations and then go and test those. Now, of course, we still have the research scientists go and test, but the AI algorithms are able to really hone down to which molecules they should go test first and prioritize and triage, which accelerates the actual time to market for that drug, because a computer model can very easily, or an AI model can very, very easily go through millions, if not billions, of molecule iterations and just select the most promising ones. And so, and then I haven't even touched on telehealth and patient care, but we see a lot of use cases there as well.
Awesome.
I know we're out of time.
Yeah, just probably a good one to close out on. They're wondering, does HPE offer ways to test or try these solutions?
Yes, absolutely. We have two primary ways that we can assist with that. One, we can always just provide a demo, but if you actually want to do like a virtual POC, we actually have an environment to test that. We have Intel platforms, our servers with Intel CPUs set up, ready to go. We can also set up custom solutions if you need to in our virtual platform. That being said, that's our preferred way. That's the fastest, right? But that being said, if you need something on-prem for most of the solutions I've shared today, we actually can also work with you to set up an on-site POC as well. So we have two ways that we can accomplish that.
Okay. Well, Dan, Monica, so much to talk about here. I think we could go for another hour, but unfortunately, we've got to cut it here. So thanks to you both for putting together just a really informative session today. Really appreciate your time today.
Absolutely.
Likewise, and thank you everybody for joining. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, folks.
All right, and the last piece of business here today is the Amazon gift card prize drawing. And the winner of the $250 gift card today is Dalton Hamilton from Texas. So congratulations to Dalton. We'll be in touch to get you your card. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank HPE and Intel for making this event possible. And thanks as always for attending and for all of your great questions. That's going to conclude today's event. Have a fantastic rest of your day.